There's 10,000 people a day turning 65, 4,000 people a day turning 85. Currently, the silent generation lives in assisted living. It's not the baby boomers yet. We're just starting to see the oldest baby boomers enter the market. The next 20 years, we are doubling the amount of seniors who are going to need home care and assistance. And we are currently, right now, 1.3 million beds short.
If you're a real estate agent earning $200,000 a year and you want to grow your passive income, this show is for you. Learn secrets other agents use and hear from experts in our field who will guide you on your journey to investing in assets like apartment communities so you can take your commissions and turn them into cash flow. Here's your host, Randall. Let's dive in.
Hey folks, welcome back. Today's guest is going to talk all about assisted living, care homes, and residential assisted living. We had to have a schooling because I was saying it wrong. So Isabelle Guarino is leading the charge essentially on these residential assisted living facilities. And she walks us through exactly how she got started, what she started doing, why she got into the business, and then how you can get started as well. She has a coaching program. She's been the advocate, it seems like the mouthpiece and the speaker for small individuals going out and buying these homes rather than just the big boxes going out and buying them. And so she talks about why, and it's a great conversation. So if you're interested in assisted living and you want to know more about it and why this is a great time to start buying assets and working on properties and real estate that is dedicated to the massive tide of aging population that we have in the United States, then this is an episode for you. So you're going to get a lot out of the show. Please go on, rate and review wherever you are. It helps us a ton, bring on awesome guests. So here we go. Let's jump into the show. Well, hey, Isabelle, thanks for jumping on. It's awesome to have you on the show today talking about care homes and residential assisted living. She had to educate me off air a second ago because I didn't know what I was talking about. So that's what you're here for. You're going to educate us today. So thanks again for jumping on. I'm excited to have the
I'm glad
conversation.
to be here. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us what it is that you're working on and kind of the history on how you got into assisted living in general?
Yeah. So I currently own and operate 3 residential assisted living homes here in the Phoenix market. And then I train other real estate investors, real estate agents, anyone who really wants to get involved, medical professionals, you name it, how to own and operate their own care homes as an investment property. So I love doing that. And we got into this business because my own grandmother needed care. She needed housing, so we were looking for a place for her. Nothing was good. Everything was expensive with waiting lists. They stunk. The food was bad. The care was bad. It was like, this is the options. And my dad had been a real estate investor for 40 years at that point, and he did quick math and realized, wait. I'm going to pay $5K a month for her to live in one of these, or we could own and operate the real estate, cash flow, 10 grand a month, and she could live for free. So not knowing what we were doing, we purchased an existing residential assisted living home because we found that the care and the quality was just so much better in a residential setting. And the rest is history. Now we've got 3 and moving from there.
How did you get through the regulation though on the front end? Because that's what I was talking to you about a minute ago. It was like me and a buddy, we were going through looking at it in San Antonio or Texas. It's DADS. I don't know if that's state nationwide, if it's called DADS or something. There was this program that we had to go through.
Okay.
And we just couldn't get our license essentially at the time is what it was. So buying one that was already in existence, was that through your foot in the door?
So there's 4 ways you can do it. You could buy land and build custom from the ground up.
Yep.
You can buy a single family home and convert it to become 2 of our properties. We did that way. You can lease a home to use for this. So somebody's already got it up to code and you're just going to lease it to use for this, or 4, you can buy an existing. So there's 30,000 group homes that exist across our country today. And many of them you can purchase the real estate and the business and you're up and running, cash flowing right away. So I think what you're talking about is there's 3 really licenses involved. One is on the physical property. So is that what you're referring to?
No, it was like the state regulatory body we were trying to go through, and we had to submit application after application, and they kept kicking it back. This is like 2009.
Yeah. So the physical home will have a license based on like square footage, fire suppression, ramps, guardrails, handrails, all those different things. There's a licensed administrator that you're hiring to work in the home. I don't know if that's what you guys were applying for, but that's typically somebody you hire who's going to be in the weeds 24/7. They're hiring, firing caregivers. They're doing tours, marketing, filling the beds. If someone passes on, they're dealing with all of that. And then the caregivers have a license. So there's 3 licenses involved, but you as the owner operator You're not licensed
I
technically.
honestly don't know. He was handling it. I just know we filled out a bunch of paperwork and they kept coming back. And it honestly probably was, unbeknownst to us, we were probably applying to be an administrator for no
Yep.
reason. Like we didn't even need to. We were real estate
No.
guys, you know?
Yep. Stay out of that
Yeah.
zone. That's not for you. Hire that out.
Way to go, Joaquin. Way to go, buddy. No.
If you would have come to the RL
Yeah.
Academy, you would have known this.
That's right. Yeah. We looked at the numbers too, and
Yeah.
just seeing what it was. Yeah, the returns look phenomenal. And the guy that we were just talking about, I looked at some of the returns, again at what they produce. So regardless of the returns, I want to talk more on the care side because you mentioned like the food was bad, it smelled, this, that, and the other, right? All these
Yeah.
negative things. So how have you been able to differentiate? Are you creating an Airbnb setting with all this like super nice, like chic looking boutique style hotel? Like, what are you doing to make yours better?
Yeah, when we were searching for my grandmother, she lived in upstate New York, and none of these smaller style care homes existed. They were all big box facilities, Brookdale, Sunrise, Atriums. So that's what we were looking and comparing it to. And honestly, the biggest difference between a smaller care home and a big box, right, is care ratios. In a large facility, it's 30 seniors to one caregiver. That is not okay. Like, I can't take care of 30 people. I'm pretty sure you can't. They can't either, no matter how highly trained or skilled they are. So there's a lot of neglect. There's a lot of abuse. There's a lot of seniors just sitting there, not getting any attention all day long. And that to us was just not acceptable. And it goes down the line of you walk into this place and, well, guess what? If someone's been left alone all day and now they've peed themselves 4 times, it's going to start to stink because that's soaking in everywhere. And you can't really get that out when you've got hundreds of seniors doing that over and over. So in the smaller care home setting, our ratios are 4-1 or 5-1. So the care quality is already above and beyond better. And it makes your caregivers actually want to stay and work for you. So the caregiver shortage that everyone talks about in big box facilities, well, heck yeah. If you're going to get paid the same, wouldn't you rather take care of 4 people than 30? Like, it just
Yeah.
makes so much more sense. So you can control it a lot better when it's in a smaller environment, for sure.
All right. Let's break down the actual strategy then from a real estate. We got a lot of real estate professionals listening.
Yep.
Talk to me like I'm the guy, right? I need to know how to go in my market, or, maybe you tell me find a different market. But how do I go from finding the asset, getting it ready to go, and actually getting beds rented, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. Okay. So
Filled maybe is the right word.
filled, there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay,
That is
thanks.
the right word.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing you're going to be looking for in regard to location, and by the way, Texas is phenomenal for this. So if that's where you are, I would tell you go.
Hey.
But you're going to want to look for demographics. That's going to be your target thing. You're looking for an area where the majority population is 50 to 70 years old, upper middle class, making twice the median income, typically college grads and homeowners. Okay. That is telling us where the adult child of the grandma or grandpa who's moving into the home, right? Where the adult child, where they live, eat, work, sleep, play. And that is our target market because they pay for mom or dad's care within the home, typically.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be far away. They want to be 5-minute drive down the road. So we need to target market them. That tells us our location. Then we choose which of those 4 methods we just talked about, right? Buying land, converting, leasing, or buying existing. Choose your method and you're going to get the real estate, get it up to code, adding ramps, guardrails, handrails, fire suppression, maybe elevators if it's multi-level. In Texas, you're lucky. You're allowed to have 16 residents in a home. Now, when I say single family, everyone thinks 3-2. It's not a 3-2. Our students in Texas have 12, 14, 16 bedroom homes. These are mansions. They're luxury, upscale, beautiful homes in really nice parts of town. And that's what you're looking for. Because most seniors do want private bedrooms, private bathrooms, right? So now you got the home, it's ready to go. You've chosen your 4 methods, you've purchased it, you've renovated it, you're ready. All the while you've been marketing. You have to start marketing day one to fill the beds. But one of the best ways to market or relationships you want to curate is with local placement agents. It's kind of like a realtor for assisted living. This is someone who, when grandma falls and breaks her hip, they work with a placement agent and say, okay, what price point, amenities, location are you looking for? And that placement agent tours them to a couple different facilities. It costs the family nothing. It costs the facility or home the first month's rent or half of the first month's rent, depending on the contract they've negotiated. So you're paying for speed. You're getting that lead in and you lose the first month, but the average stay is 3.5 years. So I'll pay 5K all day for someone who's going to stay with me for 3.5 years. So you can do that, but other marketing methods, Facebook, websites, community events, elder law attorneys, hospice agencies, all sorts of people like that is who you're going to be working with to help fill your beds. You also need to hire your staff, your administrator, and they're going to hire your caregivers and make sure that everything in the home is running smoothly, because you're not going to be working in the home. You got to hire the staff who is. And then more or less you're rocking and rolling. You've got your staff, you've got your residents, you're always marketing because people come and go in the home. And so you need to always be marketing to fill those beds. But more or less, that's how you get the home up and running.
Awesome. A lot of stuff in there. So I'm going to break it down and go back. So let's see, target kids, like who are going to be paying for it. That makes a lot of sense. Midway through you talking, I was like thinking of this property that I went toward the other day. It was a 10 bedroom, 10 bath. I'm like, wait a second. Okay, check those box. And then it comes to that and it's downtown San Antonio. So it's not in that like 5-minute drive radius. So I don't know if it would work, and it needs a little bit of work, but anyway, sorry. Just wanted to, maybe we'll kick that around on the side. Tell me if I should do it. And then you mentioned there are 4 different ways, right? Ground up, all that, right? What is the easiest? What's the low hanging fruit? Like, is it buying one that's already set up? I would think, but you tell me.
That's a faster way to get in. Within 3 to 6 months, you can definitely do that. But you're buying a business that's already set up. So if the one we bought, it was like, I want to renovate that kitchen so freaking bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, because you got people eating 3 meals, and then you've got visitors and caregivers and all this stuff. It's a running business.
Yeah.
Even the bedrooms, I can't renovate them until someone passes on, and I can do one room at a time. So the home becomes very mix matchy. It's never going to be this like upscale, beautiful home. So there's pros and cons. You can get in faster, paying more because you're buying the business, buying the real estate, and you can't really renovate it very well. So pros and cons, that is a faster way to get in.
Yeah.
Leasing a home is the cheapest way to get in because someone else has taken on the liability of buying the home, renovating it, doing all that, and you're just paying them more or less rent to run your business within the home. So that's one of the cheaper ways. But if I was in Texas, I would build from the ground up, because a 16 bed is hard to find. And even if you are going to take a home, that 10 bed, 10 bath, and chop it up differently and add more square footage or whatever, renovate it, it's still going to be tough. It's easy to do.
Frankenstein style house.
Yeah, it's easier to do ground up. If I was Texas, if I'm in California where I can have 6 in a home, I'm buying a 5-4 and I'm just doing a single family conversion, because it's very minimal conversions that will need to happen to that 5-4 to make it ready to go for 6 residents.
Yeah. So all of them have to be sprinkled. Is that what I heard you say?
It depends on your county, but whether or not you're required to, we highly recommend that you do.
Yeah.
You should. Just safety.
Yeah. I'm going to ask then about, because we're touching on the metrics for buying a home in the business, right? We can all value real estate pretty easily, right? Their comps and that sort of thing. But what do these things trade on from the business point of view? Like what multiple, or is it?
Yeah, typically 2 to 5 times the EBITDA. Obviously, if I'm buying, I want it low. If I'm selling, I want it high. So we always say it's typically somewhere in the middle around that 3 or 4 number. Yeah. But I'd also say it's worth what someone's willing to pay. Because if they have done all the work for you and you're up and running, cash flowing 10K right away, you might be willing to pay a little bit more.
For sure. So can you tell us the numbers on that first one that you bought?
Yeah. So average rates here in Arizona are about $4,500 per month per person. Okay. So we have 10 residents here in Arizona. That's how many we're allowed to have. So that's 45,000 coming in every single month. The mortgage on that house is only $5K because this was 10 years ago when we got started. And then to run the business is about $30,000 a month for 10 residents. So that home cash flows us $10K a month. And that's baking in about a 10% vacancy, because if you're marketing at all times, you should be staying relatively full, but you always want to bake in some vacancy because you're never going to be always full.
Yeah. Okay. So 50, 10, 20% margin, essentially business. Is that what I'm getting? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And did you just buy the real estate, or how much did you buy that business for? Hey everybody, Randall McCleary here with a special shout out to our friends over at Envone. If you're looking to diversify your investment portfolio, you've got to go check them out. It's envone.com. It's a crowdfunding platform with a wide range of investment opportunities, things like real estate investing and even bourbon barrel investing. So check them out. Envone hosts our crowdfund. It's actually a single family real estate investment fund that we have launched with them, and we've had an awesome experience working with Levy and his team. They're super responsive, very quick to assist us with things that we need, and they have crowdfunding down to a science. Go ahead and check out episode 154, where Levy and I discuss crowdfunding in detail and how it can help you either invest or raise capital. And check this out. As a friend of the pod, launch your crowdfund with Envone, and you're going to get an exclusive 10% discount when you head over to envone.com/ABC, or simply call Levy and his team at 475-800-8716 and mention Agents Building Cash Flow. Go crush it. Happy investing. Talk to you later.
That home 10 years ago, we bought the real estate and the business together. It was inexpensive. The lady was going bankrupt, actually. It's quite a story. We tell it in our class, but she was needed to get out of that and get it off her plate. And now she's a killer in the game. She owns like 10 multi-million-dollar RAL homes and she's crushing it. But at that point in time, she's like, I got to get out of this. I want to say it was $550 for the real estate and the business.
Yeah. Yeah. So good deal for you guys. Do you still have that?
Still own it, still cash flows. It's our lowest end home. So it's not in like our higher end home gets rates of $8,500 per person. So that's a huge range. But I like to have a low, a medium, and a high, because if someone comes and tours the high home and I don't have any other options, now I'm sending them to a competitor. But right now I can say, hey, I've got this other home. It's 15 minutes from here, but the rates are only 6. And when they come to that, I can move them up and down the ladder depending on location and price point.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right. So we were talking about the easiest type, or the 4 different types, right? And then that took us down the road of how to sell and buy, what the metrics look like on that. And then you mentioned something about the local placement agents. So who are they, right? I'm in San Antonio. Do I just Google placement agent for assisted living? Or is it a known name in the field that does it nationwide?
Well, there is a national company and it's called A Place for Mom, but I would never tell you to use them. They charge 120%. And if someone is a lead with them, no matter when they come to you, you owe them for the rest of your life once they've signed up with them. So we do not recommend to work with them. They are just like terrible. But if you search placement agent in San Antonio, they will come up number 1.
Got it. Okay. Good advice.
You want to find a local person. Honestly, 90% of this is like stay-at-home moms. And they just have their own little LLC and they work with the community. They make relationships with the care home owners and the geriatric doctors. And so when someone needs help, they send them to them. They go and help you find a home. And that's it. I mean, if you think about it, if they do 4 placements a month, each placement's $5,000 for them. They're killing it.
Decent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good work.
Is there like an MLS equivalent of homes available or beds available in any given market?
Okay, so we created the RAL Home Locator, and it's ralhomelocator.com. It's every state's directory, because all states have a directory, typically on the Department of Health Services website. So Texas, you go DHS or whatever, and it will show you all the care homes in your area. And Texas is actually beautiful because it's an Excel sheet, but I think you're the only state it's an Excel sheet. Everybody else, it's like a ghetto old website that's like hard to navigate and oh my God, it's bad. So we had a VA pull all 50 states info, put them on the RAL Home Locator. So all 50 states are there. So you can type in your area and see all the care homes that pop up in your area, but it's not telling you if they have beds available, their pricing and this, that. You got to know 80% of this industry is run by immigrants. And when I say immigrants, it's someone who came from another country who has a heart and a love for seniors, and they opened their own home up and have seniors move into it. They live in the home, they work in the home, they care for the seniors themselves. This isn't a investment strategy for them. It's a heart thing for them. They love to do this, and that's why they're doing it. Well, after about 7 or 8 years, they burn out, but they have a business and it cash flows. And so sometimes they try to sell it or they just shut it down. We represent the other like 20 to 30-ish% of the industry that's running this as business owners and operators. And we're the minority by far because most people are really working in the home and they're running it very differently than the way we teach to set it up, which is very passive and hands off. So when you call these homes, most of them don't have websites. Most of them don't have Facebook pages. It's shocking. I'm like, how do they even get business? But they're just word of mouth. They're just the local care home down the road and everybody kind of knows.
Yeah, that's reminiscent of other real estate industries or asset classes, right? That have now been institutionalized.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting. So are you looking for more properties or are you focusing mainly on the education side?
Right now I'm focusing mostly on the education side. Currently, I invest in other people's deals. So I don't say I own them, but we're invested in about 50 of our students' deals at this point, 10
Mhm.
years teaching other people. And when you're teaching them the best way to do it, a lot of times great deals that come across your plate and we want to play in the game with them. So
Yeah.
I invest in about 50, own and operate three, and
Okay.
then mostly I'm teaching people. But if a good deal comes, it's hard to pass up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk, I guess, numbers then, because like anything else, if you're going to do ground up, that's one cost. If you're going to buy and retrofit, that's another cost. But in every market's going to be different for cost of labor and materials and whatnot. But in general, if I were to buy a property or even convert, like, hey, I've got a house, it's a 4 bed, 2 bath, and I want to convert this thing, what are the major expenses that I would likely incur? Sprinkling is not cheap, right? That's one thing. But what else is there?
Sprinkling's about $3 to $5 per square foot. So
Okay.
that could be expensive. If it's multi-level, 30 to 50K for an elevator, a residential elevator, that can be expensive. I probably wouldn't do, unless you're capped at 6 residents, a 4-2 might work. If not, number one, it's probably in the wrong neighborhood because daughter Judy, right, 50 to 70-year-old upper middle class, she's not living in a 4-2. She's living in a 6-5. Right.
Yeah.
So we want to be in her neighborhood. So
Yeah.
already I'd probably say, don't think it's the right area.
Yeah.
But let's just say it was perfect area. You're going to need to add a whole lot more bedrooms and bathrooms. And we're not just chopping the home into bedrooms and bathrooms. You still want a welcome area, a dining room, a living room, a kitchen. If you can add a library, a salon, a movie theater, all those things are nice touches that a lot of our homes and our students' homes do have. These are luxury,
That's nice.
upscale homes.
Yeah.
This isn't a little like, oh, just tiny little project. These are big
Yeah.
projects.
So what's the sweet spot then? It's 16, right? 16 people in a home in an upper class neighborhood in San Antonio. Like say the house 16 better. I mean, there are a few neighborhoods, right, that I can think off the top of my head. You're $2 million, $3 million for that purchase, give or
Yep,
take, right? And then the retrofit, another $1 million, I would guess, if you're putting in,
potentially.
yeah, I don't know. Some of them may already have libraries, but so again, the returns, I'm just kind of curious what you're looking at on this return profile. If it's a 20% margin business, that doesn't really tell me on the how much income potential 16 beds could get me in that market. Is $8,500 the cap?
So there's a website, genworth.com/cost of care. Gen is
Yeah.
GEN worth. Okay. Genworth.com/cost of care. When you go there, you can type in your area or wherever you want to invest, and it will tell you the average cost of care in your area.
Okay.
So currently, national average is 5,350. This includes our friends on government funding, which is about 1,800 bucks a month. And that's a lot of people who are in this
Yeah.
bracket. It also includes our private pay friends who are paying $9, $10, $12,000 a month. So it's averaging to that 5,350.
Yeah.
So depending on your market, right? If you search San Antonio and your average, I don't know San Antonio's off the bat, but if the average is 6, we only do private pay homes. That's what we'd be showing you how to do. So your rates in your home are probably 7, 8, 85 a month to be in that home. So yeah, there's not a top. It really is market dependent. Hawaii's average is 9,340.
Yeah.
So our students out there are getting 12K per month
Yeah.
per resident, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with Alaska. It's like ridiculously high. Our students are getting DC, they're getting 10K a month. It's crazy, crazy.
So how do you determine market one? Like, why wouldn't everybody just go to Hawaii and do this? How do you know saturation, right? Am I going to fill these beds? Am I not, right? How do you know these things?
Okay, saturation. Let's talk about that. We always tell people to do an internal feasibility study. You need to determine how many beds are already there. What are they charging? Are they full or are they empty? You need to find all the vacancy rates. You've got to do the market research. It's also the McDonald's method. Okay. That's the second piece of it. If they've just built a brand new big box right by you, you want to put your care home at the end of the doorstop because they did millions of dollars worth of research to determine that there's a growing need in that area. Just to throw some numbers at you. There's 10,000 people a day turning 65, 4,000 people a day turning 85. Currently, the silent generation lives in assisted living. It's not the baby boomers yet. We're just starting to see the oldest baby boomers enter the market. The next 20 years, we are doubling the amount of seniors who are going to need home care and assistance. And we are currently, right now, 1.3 million beds short. So the supply is very low and the demand is increasingly high and getting even higher over the next 20 years. NIC is projecting we're only adding 50,000 beds per year. There is not enough room in the inn. This is going to be a massive national crisis that if our government doesn't get involved and figure out how to get housing for these seniors, we're going to have a huge problem because let's be real, majority of people can't quit their job to go take care of their loved one full time, right? That's not happening for most Americans. And if you think you're going to get one-on-one in-home care, average cost is $27 an hour. If you need 24/7 care, that's $19K a month, plus your mortgage, plus your activities, food, cable, internet. We're talking 25K to keep your loved one at home with one-on-one care. So that's not affordable for Americans. They can't quit their job because times are tight right now. So going into assisted living is the next best option. And I'm not trying to run the whole world. I'm trying to take my tiny piece of the market and show other people's how to too, impact your community, make a plan for your family so you or your loved one knows exactly where you're going and you can live for free, leaving your kids blessings, not burdens.
Nice. I like that. That's good. I'm going to go back then. Okay. So you mentioned NIC. We'll get to that in a sec. We were talking about the placement agents.
Yeah.
Local, all right, moms, right? That sort of thing.
Yep.
And so there's a way to find them and talk to them. The other side of it was actually hiring the staff.
Yes.
So that seems like a massive ordeal, fairly daunting because they're running the entire thing. You may not have any medical background. You may not have any. So how do you go about doing that?
So the first key hire is that licensed administrator, right? And so in most states, they're not a nurse, not a doctor. Like I think one state they have to be a nurse. Other than that, they're not. It's a license that they get to be a licensed administrator. And it's typically a couple hour training and then some time working as a caregiver and a course that they have to take to get that approval for it. Every state varies, but that's typically what the setup looks like. They're going to do the hiring, firing, retention, onboarding of your caregivers. Basically, they're building out their team. How do you ensure that these caregivers are doing what you want and everything's running smoothly? It's you having that attention with that administrator and making sure that they're running the business you want it the way you want it to be run. Implementing policies and procedures, cameras in the house, making sure that you're watching everybody's move, being slow to hire, quick to fire, using hiring tools like predictive index. All these different things really help you make sure that you're getting strategic hires and that you are running a tight ship because it's very important. Like this isn't just real estate. This is people's lives at stake and you don't want to mess around with that at all.
Yeah. That's another one of the reasons like the liability seems to go up significantly. So what special insurances or special coverage do you guys have to have on these types of investments?
You definitely want liability insurance. It's about $2 to $3 per day per resident. So with 10 residents, $900 a month, it's a line item, but you want it because it protects you, your seniors, and your staff. And that safety is the number one most important thing for everyone involved in this, right? And so you want to make sure that you get that. But people get really scared, like liability insurance can be so expensive. It's really not. It's really not.
Yeah. How was the market impacted during COVID?
You know what's so crazy? The big boxes got hit so hard and I couldn't have been happier about it. I hate to say that, but they got exposed. They got exposed for shoving food under the door and neglecting seniors and leaving them for days on end with no attention. And finally, people started waking up and saying, oh my God, my loved one was getting this type of care. Are you kidding me? They started ripping their loved ones out of big boxes and begging to come into our doors. And for years at the big box conventions, we'd come and they'd look down on us because we were small. We were the small guys, we're so lame. We don't own thousands of beds and all this stuff. And we were just chopped liver to them. Then COVID happened and we were the star of the show. Every single big box owner is saying, how do we become like you? How do we do this? Because no one wants us anymore. They all want you. So now you'll see big boxes are starting to buy up like an entire block of land and turn it into like a cul-de-sac of small care homes. They're trying to become us because it's terrible. And I'm happy that COVID ruined it for them because 97% of COVID cases with seniors was in big boxes, 3% in ours.
Yeah.
We can control who's coming and going. Like we're a home. You know who walks through your door every day. They know who walks through the care home door every day. Not in a big box. Someone's working on floor 5 one day, floor 18 the next day, spreading God knows what. With ours, it's the same people in and out every day. It's so much easier to control.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to a minute ago about institutional. Like if they are transitioning out of that and trying to take part of the market of the smaller homes.
They definitely are.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's happening. It's currently in transition. So
people may find that as a threat. Oh, they're going to come in and do this. If you have a portfolio of 5 to 10 of these, they're going to buy them up from you. So this is the best time to get in, start your brand, build your reputation. We have a student with 26 homes under one brand in Colorado, all cash flowing between 10 and 20K a month. And their plan is to get to 100, package them up and sell them. That's a huge buyout. So this is the best time to get in because they don't know and they don't want to take the effort to play the small man's game. If you play it right and build it the way they want to scale, they'll buy you out. And you can either keep it and cash flow and pass down to your family. And I love that. That's what my family's exit plan is just to keep it. Or you can play the big boy game. It's whatever you want, but it shouldn't scare you from getting into it. It should be like, ooh, there's some real money on the table.
For sure. To clarify, that's what I was driving at. Like, so I look at like storage, right? Storage was, mom and pop, like 80% mom and pop, no websites, no whatever. And now it's been institutionalized and it's been gobbled up. So that's what's happening. I guess I can see that happening in this industry if it hasn't already.
Absolutely.
You mentioned NIC. What is NIC?
NIC is, I think it's called National Investment Center. If you just go to nic.org, they have a bunch of senior housing like investment information.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Let's talk again. When you're bringing people in, you're bringing students in and you're starting with them, give me the like high level points. Like, hey, you're going to start here. This is what we're going to do. You're going to end up here. Like, what's the process with you guys?
Yeah, we host 3-day trainings in Phoenix, Arizona, every like 6 to 8 weeks. I'm the lead educator, but everyone else who's there, who's teaching and training are past students who went through the education, went out, got their care homes up and running, and now they're back to kind of teach you their expertise. So we really go through A to Z, what you need to know when it comes to finding the home, renovating it, getting the capital, so you don't have to use your own money to do this. We go through hiring your staff, doing tours with the families, how to market the home. We really cover it all. We even go through memory care. And if you want to add that on as an option within the home, so how to get licensed for that and the differences with that. We talk about investing remotely because 31% of care homeowners are remote operators. They own in another state or area from where they live. So we go through A to Z, teaching you everything you need to know. We have coaching and mentoring after the fact, but most people, that's enough information to go out and hit the ground running. And they now know what to do. They have their plan of attack and they can kind of take it from there and get their care home up and running. We have a national association that represents all 30,000 group homes across the country. So we've got a lot of free resources for our care home owners that go through our training there. And we host a national convention, which is like a party for all the care home owners too every year. And we have a lot of fun with it. So yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned remote, like owning remote and working remote. So what kind of tools do you need? What kind of systems do you guys have in place? What do you need to be able to do that and actually be comfortable knowing that that asset is actually operating the way you want it to operate?
Yes. It sounds so simple, but things like using Zoom and using your phone to check in with your administrator so you don't have to be in the home, right?
Yeah.
Having cameras and actually watching the footage if you want to, right? Having all of your documentation online. When someone comes in to tour the home, you can send them everything on DocuSign and have them all sign it there. having electronic payments and EMARs, electronic medical recording systems, having cameras over your medication, dealing with the doctors virtually. I mean, everything is virtual these days, and that's a beautiful thing because it means you don't have to go to the care home. I visit my homes every other month, maybe, and they're only 45 minutes down the road from me. I could go every day, but I'm like, why? Why do I need to go there if I'm no use? I'm not a caregiver. There's no need. So a lot of the typical things that you would be using to run any business, that's what you're going to be using over there. QuickBooks and payroll, all of it can be done online. Even a lot of the marketing, it's pretty much all online. There's some relationship building that needs to be done in person, but for the most part, as the owner operator, your job is really just to oversee that administrator, make sure everything's being done properly, and then get all those systems in place so that the business can kind of run itself with minimal input from you.
Yeah. What would you say you spend? You have 3 of them. And how many total beds do you have?
30 total beds, 5 hours a week.
5. And that's
Yeah.
mainly looking at reports. You're not sitting there watching the cameras.
No.
You're not. Yeah.
It's one meeting a week with my administrator. She brings to the meeting a written report that basically says, hey, Joe Schmo moved out, Sally Sue moved in. We've got 1 open bed. This is my plan for filling it. You know, this caregiver showed up late this week. This one filled this shift. We have this holiday coming up. This is our activities. She writes it all out for me. I'm like, looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if there's any concerns, the thing is, in the beginning, it is so much more work because you got to get it all set up. You got to get those systems down so your administrator knows how to communicate with you that way and knows this is what we're going to do within the home. But once it's up and running, it's very, very passive. But in the beginning, it is a lot of work. Hear me loud and clear.
What do you see happening? How's the market evolving? We've talked about the big box guys coming in. They're going to be buying up some or developing new small group home type setup. Where do you see it going? And what are you personally trying to do over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I do. First, this is going to be a hot topic. It's not a sexy topic, right? But it's going to be a hot topic because the boomers have been driving our economy for the last 70 plus years. What makes us think that's just going to magically go away in their last years of life? It's not. They drive our economy. Follow the money. You're following the boomers. They hold most of the wealth in our country today. They also hold most of the real estate. And when they're moving into your home, guess what? Their home is now up for grabs. So to me, I think this is going to be the hottest thing over the next 20 years. And we're going to see more and more people talking about it, more and more people getting involved and wanting to play their role, whether it's owning the real estate, owning the business, doing some sort of supplemental business, being a placement agent or something like that. It's going to be a hot topic. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, the big boxes starting to get involved at the smaller scale and really try to figure out how to work their way in. And I'm starting to see a lot of real estate investors in general. It's tough to cash flow on most other forms of single family investing right now. Even Airbnb is tough these days. You've got cities practically shutting them down and really just hating on the owners. This is a really lucrative opportunity, but also an opportunity to really do good and give back and have a solution. And I love that do good, do well balance. So I see a lot coming. I think we're going to see a lot more about this. And for us, my biggest thing is our mission is to positively impact 10 million people by providing high quality assisted living. So my mission is to get out there and encourage as many people as I can to get involved in this industry one way or another. But this is the opportunity of our lifetime. And it's kind of like we're in 2008 and there's a crystal ball in front of you and you're not taking action. It's like, you look back in 2014, you're like, what an idiot was I, right? It's like, that's what's happening right now. You can literally see the numbers. You can see what's going on and it's right in front of you. And for everyone who doesn't take action, you're going to be kicking yourself in 10 years. That's what I see.
So are you going big? Are we going to see more beds on the horizon?
To get 10 million, seniors impacted, we need to get as many homes as we can. So the best thing I can do is teach as many people as possible how to do this. So together we can all make a huge impact. Because if I can teach you and you open a 3-pack and you teach more people and they open 3-packs, together we can accomplish this bigger than just me eating my little piece alone,
Yeah. I like it. One thing you just said, sparked in my mind immediately. We've got seniors that are moving into our houses, their house then becomes available. So are you positioning yourself in any way to capture those leads and or do something with that because there's a bunch of people that want to buy those, or agents who would want those leads to list those houses. And if you're the conduit, that could be a revenue generator.
Yes, huge opportunity for sure. We are going to launch a program for realtors. When I have more info, I will let you know.
All right.
For now, we have an incredible affiliate with Philip Vincent of Mom's House, and they help teach people and realtors how to get the home, place them in the home. So you're making that income there, you're getting the real estate and getting to do whatever you want with it, right?
Yeah.
Sell, fix and flip, buy and hold, turn it into an RAL, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So Philip Vincent for now is the go-to guy with Mom's House.
Awesome. Well, Isabelle, I appreciate you jumping on, sharing your knowledge, information about that business and all that it entails. I'm going to throw your contact info in the show notes. So if anybody's interested and wants to get in touch with you directly, just click through directly to Isabelle. So thanks again. It's a great convo.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Did you know that 80% of the agents we speak with got into real estate in order to gain passive income so they could obtain financial freedom and become work optional? If you want to stay up to date, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. We'll catch you on the next episode.